What is up, guys? It's Rado from Trendsetter Capital, and we have another Subnet simplified video. This playlist is meticulously designed for you to quickly understand the dynamic Tao ecosystem and the broad range of subnets because we have so many of them. And it is designed for you to specifically develop your own gut feeling, make decisions for yourself, understand what subnets are doing and what value they're providing to the world, and maybe even pick up a few subnets that you're going to try mining on later on. So since 2025, we have seen an explosion of AI generated content all over the web. Look, I am not against AI helping us with our work. I think it has a great place for that. But as AI evolves, humans have tendencies to use it the wrong way. We all know that shady local business with 0 clients but hundreds of bot reviews. Those social media influencers with millions of followers but a few unauthentic comments and likes. Fake job applications, mass-generated insurance claims, AI-generated pages selling unbranded products as if it's the next big thing. Yeah, we want less of that type of content on the web. And we need a product that easily and reliably verifies that. And that's exactly what Subnet 32, its AI, brings to the table. A super user-friendly product to quickly detect if content has been generated by AI with lots of key insights. And the best part about it, it's all powered by our hardworking miners on the Bittensor network. Let's check it out in detail. What's cool about Bittensor subnets is that you can have multiple subnets within the same sector, all while having different client personas and products and vision that they're building upon. For example, Bitmind is also in the AI detection niche, but they're focused on detecting fake videos, face swaps, synthetic images, altered audios, and etc. But Subnet 32, its AI, mostly wants to detect AI-generated text content such as articles, essays, social media blogs and posts, written documents, applications, etc. Subnet 32 has one of the most straightforward revenue model, and they're already generating revenue outside of Bittensor, and this is key. For example, teachers would obviously subscribe to their detection tool to track that students are actually doing their work. This is a huge problem right now in all schools around the world. Think about it. We have people getting multi-year degrees for a craft they do not properly understand, all because of wrongful AI usage. Also, students or writers who inspire their ideas with AI would still want to check their results before submitting their work. Social media managers or even big brands would want to know if a person's engagement is authentic before doing business with them. Or maybe even a lawyer would want to know if the cease and desist letter that landed in their client's email was generated by AI. This simply englobes the retail customers. Its AI is also perfect for enterprises and businesses like schools, universities, educational platforms like Udemy, and educational tech providers. And I really love that this subnet already has a monetization model. They have a 4-tiered pricing model for personal usage, and they also englobe the enterprise users with more costly products, which makes it clear that this subnet is one of the few in the dynamic Tao ecosystem that are generating revenue external to Bittensor, which will help a lot when it comes to offsetting minor emissions. As of right now, we are so early. Subnet 32 generates only $400 per year, but I can easily see this going to 5 or 6 figures per month. They've clearly shown the capability to land large enterprise contracts by onboarding 2 of the most prestigious schools in Dubai to pilot test their AI detection products. If they can land large clients, that's a path to big revenue fast. Just in the US, there are 4,000 universities, 130,000 elementary and high schools, and on average, these schools spend around $8 to $12 per student on integrity tools that detect AI-generated work. If Subnet 32 simply catches 2 or 3% of the US's $200 million total addressable market cap, it would bring them to $3 to $5 million in annual revenue. With current Tau prices of about $250, the team needs to buy back approximately $80,000 worth of its alpha token to fully offset current miner emissions, a small proportion of their possible annual revenue. And fun fact, the top miner is earning around $20 per day to detect AI generated content with his GPU miner. I believe this subnet represents the perfect Bittensor ethos because you have global miner talent that all work really hard to optimize open source models to detect AI generated texts. It evolves much faster and cheaper than any centralized team because of the natural protocol incentive. And it actually works. Its AI already positioned itself number one with an average of 92% on the MTGD evaluation, a super strict benchmark that is comprised of 15 individual hard to pass tests. A few of those requirements are: can you detect AI text if it's a social media post, if it's code, if it's poetry, a scientific writing maybe? Can you detect if it comes from different AI models, GPT-4, Gemini, Llama, Claude Code, etc.? Because they all have their own proprietary generation patterns and the detector must know all of that. Also, can you handle harder to read text like sentences without spaces, text with typos, mixed human and AI writing, text with non-standard symbols and letters? And your detector was also needed to handle multiple languages to score well on this benchmark. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that little educational whiteboard section. Guys, their website is really up to par. It's really professional. Their products are out there. Their pricings, their team is fully doxed. I'm really loving it. Their use cases are rampant as well. So let's test out their products. So you're gonna click over to dashboard right here and you can directly see that they have a section where you can upload documents, you can paste your raw text as well, and your answers as to whether it's AI generated or not will be pasted out here. You have a nice run scan button down here. They also have a nice API section right here if you're an enterprise or a large company for you to automate their detection. I have a pre-generated text with AI, but there's a catch. There is one sentence in this whole paragraph, which is right here. Anyways, what I'm trying to see with this tool is if it will catch the exact sentence as human writing, because it is the only one out of the whole paragraph that I wrote myself. Let's see. So let's run the scan right now. And this is in deep scan mode, guys. So we can clearly see it's 95% AI generated, the confidence score. So 0% mix, 0% human, 100% AI. And you can clearly see that highlighted words right here, which have a high impact on AI generation. So the word AF is apparently a high impact word that flags as AI generated. We have some that are medium, like incentive, ecosystem. It didn't really catch what I wrote by hand, so this is pretty alarming, something that I would have to discuss, with the subnet owner maybe. But I wrote a little bit myself and at least it didn't say 100% written by AI, at least it was 95. All right, boys, and I've also opened up a few tabs as you can see up top just to show you in plain English as simply as possible what would mining look like on subnet 32 in theory, because mining on this subnet isn't as straightforward as on FlameWire or Bitcast or these easy subnets. You need to know code, you need to know machine learning, but I'm up for it and I'm dedicated to show you guys on this channel my journey as to mining on complex subnets like this one that require technical skills. So the first thing I would do is grab my hardware. So I would go here on minimum compute and it clearly says the requirements. You need a GPU with 24 gigs of RAM, with all these numbers that I need to do research, the memory, the storage, the operating system, etc. But everything is there if you dig deep. And who knows, maybe I'll even rent a pod from Subnet 51 Cilium because maybe they're even cheaper. This right here is a section where you can rent GPUs for a few bucks an hour. So I will most likely invest in one of these GPUs to mine on Subnet 32. So it's pretty cool to see Subnet 32 being plugged with many other Bittensor subnets. It's always a good sign. After knowing the requirements, I would have to do the easy part, which is simply the installation, the cloning the repo part on my VPS terminal, and running all these different commands. I would need to study them as a whole because I do not know what they mean, but these aren't too complicated for me at this stage. And now this is where it gets a bit more complicated. Step 3, you would need to go on Hugging Face. That is like the GitHub, but for AI models and people that do machine learning. And I would need to figure out how to use this base model, the Roberta base OpenAI detector. It is a model that is used to detect AI-based content. So this is the base model that has been referenced in the Subnet documentation. And we see the files and versions right here. And this right here is the model brain, so 500 megabytes. So this is what we'll have to improve, set the weights, set the gradients, etc. So I have no clue how to do that, but I will probably spend 2 weeks figuring out all of that. Step 4 would be to get a large data sets, maybe from Subnet 13 data universe with their data collection. It might cost me $10, $100, $1,000, who knows, but we might search for something like this AI essays and figure out what type of data we get from where, because we need data sets to train our model and fine tune it and improve it to stay competitive on the subnet. So afterwards, step 5, if you can see gradients train, anyone can train AI. This is something I really want to understand how it works, because what they're saying is basically a regular person like me could be able to do machine training. So I would have to learn their platform, how to use it, what buttons to click. As you can see, data sets, models, dashboard, all of these things I would need to understand to figuring out how to do actual proper fine tuning, because obviously I don't want to get deregistered once I start mining. Because remember guys, to register on a subnet, it could cost tens or even hundreds of dollars. Step 6 would be to simply test my miner locally. I would need to figure out how to download all my files on my local machine to even see if my code is working, if I am getting some results, if I am getting some percentages that may look something like this: ROC 94%, accuracy 92, F1 score 92, etc. This is the terminal output that you can expect when you test stuff locally. So this is what I also need to find out. It's a lot of work, guys. Step 7 would be running my miner on testnet. As you can see, they have a net UID 87. So I would also need to figure out how to connect my miner to testnet. Maybe it's with this command right here, btcli config set. As you can see, network fini. We would need to change this to test. It would maybe look something like this. As you can see on the top, network equal test. And we're going to have all sorts of real validator answers and information and queries and, output from our miner, but on testnet, so we don't lose our tau when regging. Testnet is free, it's made to test, that's what it's all about. Step 8 would be simply to understand my errors, to see what my miner is not good at. Do I need more context? Do I need to change my prompts? I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I would need to learn how to interpret my results. And finally, step 9 would be to connect to the mainnet, and this is the subnet metagraph. And if we turn on incentive, we can see all the miners that are earning. So these are all the people that are competitive, and that is my main goal, is to hop on here and is to compete with these guys. As you can see, these people are accruing alpha, on their hotkey, so they're clearly mining. As you can see, this person almost has 3,000 alpha on his hotkey at about almost $1 per alpha. So this guy has 3,000 bucks accrued to his hotkey, and we want to figure out how to do that. So guys, this is my path to monetization to Subnet 32. There's a lot of work to be done before I'm competitive with these miners, but that is the whole point of this channel. It's to understand if a regular Joe like me is going to be able to learn to mine on Bittensor and possibly make hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. So follow the journey. A lot goes into these videos, and I hope I've garnered some inspiration on your behalf with these types of videos. And with that being said, let's get to work, let's start researching, and let's start mining. Peace.